We're on our home page, and what I want to do next is to have these two buttons here be functional. So essentially this is an upvote downvote type of a system. So you can upvote it and downvote it, and the numbers here will reflect how many upvotes and downvotes a story has. What we're going to do is go into our gem file, and we're going to use a gem to do all of that for us. So we do a gem, and it's called acts as votable. And let's get the version 0.10.0 and do a bundle install. Make sure to always restart your server. And in our story RB file, what we need to add in here is, and actually before we do that, we need to run a migration to create all of our votes. So this is covered in the installation of acts as votable. So you'll need to do Rails generate acts as votable migration. And what this will do is create a votes table for us. So let's just take a look and see what that created. Acts as votable migration. So it'll create a table called votes for us, and that'll get us to the upvote and downvote of our stories. So do a rakedb migrate. Good. Now we have that in our schema. We can take a look at that by going down here. We have our votes table. And then now we'll want to go into our model, do acts as votable. And then in our routes here, let's clean this up a little bit. We're going to create a nested route here. And let me just show you first what we're doing. So member do end, and I'm just going to say like for the sake of ease, and then dislike for our downvotes. Now let's take a look at our rake routes and see what that did for us. You'll see that we have our stories, upvote and downvote, and it created these two paths, a like story and dislike story path. And essentially what it's pointing to is go into the story, find that specific story, and have this like path to it, or this like and dislike. So we're going to create actions here. And so we're porting it to stories, upvote, and downvote. So we'll need to go into our stories controller and create those actions. So we'll say upvote, and we need to find that story. We do story upvote by current user, redirect to back. So wherever you're doing the upvote or the downvote, it'll redirect you back to where you were. And here we can have downvote. Good. Pretty simple. Now if we go into our index.html ERB file, this is where our two buttons are right now. And this is just the hard-coded buttons. Let's make it functional. So we'll make them into links to that scared me. And what path do we want to point it to? Well, we created those two paths already, those two routes right here. So we can do a like story path, underscore path, and we need to pass in which story that we want to do this for. And so this right here up top, we're already doing for each story, do story. And so that's what we're going to pass in as the ID, as the parameter. And you'll see that we need an ID, so that's what we're going to pass into it, this story. Method put, class is btn warning, btn XS. And we'll see here that we have a span that we can put at the end of it. And you can get rid of the "that scared me." Do a refresh and you'll see that nothing's really changed, and it shouldn't have, but this should be functional. But before I click on that, let's do this for the downvote as well. So instead of "that scared me," it should be "you wimp." And this is dislike story right here. Method put, and then instead of warning, it's going to be success. Get rid of the hard-coded one, do a refresh, and there we have it. Now let's get the actual real numbers here. We can do that via the votes that we have here. Get upvotes, size, and that should work for us. Fantastic. And down there here at the bottom, let's just copy this actually. We don't have to watch me type it all in. And instead of upvotes, it'll be downvotes dot size. So we want the size of how many upvotes and how many downvotes it has. Fantastic. Now right now, before I click on this, right now we are letting anybody upvote and downvote it. What we forgot to do is go back into our stories controller and require that the user is logged in before they can take these actions. So in here, we'll just need to add in the two upvote, or the upvote and the downvote actions to our before authenticate user. Now if we try to do it, "that scared me," it's going to require us to log in, which is fine. I'm going to use Bob to log in. Now click on it again, and there we have it. And if we try to click on it some more, it's not going to let us do that, because acts as votable limits you to only one upvote or one downvote per story. But I can always change it. So I can change it back and forth. And then down here, I'm perfectly fine down here as well. Fantastic. So we've added an upvote and downvote system to our application by using acts as votable, the acts as votable gem.